Well, hello everybody. Mr. Mac here. Mr. Mac is back. Today we're going to read Onward. Obviously, we're moving onward with Onward. Chapter 4 is where we're going. But before we get there, I want to talk to you a little bit more about what an inference is. And you know what an inference is. I know you know. But making inferences is easy because we do it. We've been doing it since we were old enough to know what we were thinking. Like I had mentioned before, and we had often talked about, we make inferences every day by knowing things, using our intelligence. We don't need people or events or anything to tell us things specifically. We can usually we can look outside and see what the weather is without a weatherman or weather person telling us. We can walk in the house and know what mood mom's in, what mood dad's in, what mood your brother's in or your sister's in, just by clues, by what they're doing, how they're acting, facial expressions. You see somebody leaning up against a tree, and they're alone, and they're just kind of leaning up against a tree. They're back to the action. They're back to everything that's going on. Chances are real good you're a good-hearted person. You're going to go up because you're going to feel like something's wrong. That's making an inference. And great authors use inferencing a lot because they give us the benefit of a doubt. They know that their readers, us, they know that we are intelligent people. And a good story is all about it going on up here, visualizing, seeing it with our inner eye, a story, like a movie inside our head. And we know it's happening. We don't need an author to specifically tell us. So so keep that in mind. I'm going to be bringing up inferencing, and we've already talked about prediction and things like that. But there are other things too we're going to be talking about as time goes on. Things like comparing and contrasting. Cause and effect. We use cause and effect. Cause and effect happens every day too. We know what that is. We just may not necessarily know. You know because you've had cause and effect. But kids who are just learning cause and effect, just like inferencing, you use it every day. You just didn't know that there was a name for it. Anyway, chapter 4. And what do you think is going to happen? We left with Barley slumped, sad, complete opposite, feeling the complete opposite way of the way chapter 2 ended. He was sad. He was upset with himself. He was probably upset with Barley. He was upset with everything. Everything just went wrong. Everything he tried to do that day went wrong. So my prediction was he was going to go home, go straight up to bed, go to sleep, bury his head in the pillow, something. But I think I should probably have more hope. It's only the beginning of the story after all. But let's see. Let's see if I'm right. Chapter 4. Back in his room, Ian sat at his desk and pulled out his new me list. Remember that list had the 4 things on it. Clicking his pen, he crossed off the first 3 items. Psh, speak up more. Psh, learn to drive. Psh, invite people to his party. In Ian's mind, he had failed miserably all 3 of those things. I don't think he failed all 3. I don't think he failed, but anyway. He paused a moment before striking a line through the last one. Do you remember what the last one was? What was the last thing on his list? Be like Dad. Absolutely. So he went to cross it off, but he stopped. The setting sun gave his room a dark purple glow, and that's great imagery there. Imagery is when an author paints a picture with words, Close your eyes and see his room. Your room has probably been bathed in the same kind of light, you color-seeing people. The setting sun gave his room a dark purple glow. It seemed to fit his gloomy mood. He sighed, crumpled up his list, and tossed it into the trash. Family photos. This is great imagery here. I want you to visualize his room. Right now it's in a purple glow. Family photos covered his bulletin board, and his eyes fell on a photo taken shortly before he was born. His father posed with 3-year-old Barley alongside Laurel, who was pregnant with Ian at the time. So now we know that Barley is how many years older than Ian? Yes, 3 years older. So if he's 10, then Barley's 13, and so forth. But this is a wonderful picture. It's probably one of the first pictures of Ian, who hadn't even been born yet. Ian was still in the picture, though. The three of them smiled, looking incredibly happy together. He moved his attention to the photo beside it, taken a few months later. There were Laurel, 3-year-old Barley, and Ian as the baby. The space where his father should have been was painfully empty. Well, we can infer something there, something not so pleasant, not so happy. The picture 3 months earlier was the whole family, even though Ian hadn't been born yet. The picture 3 months later was Ian as a baby, Laurel, his mom, holding him, and Barley, his 3-year-old brother. But Dad wasn't there. So we can infer what happened between that time, the first picture and the second picture. It must have been when Ian's father passed away. He pulled a cassette tape labeled Dad out of its place in his desk drawer and popped it into a player. You guys don't know what a cassette tape is, look it up. Google it. Something my generation lived with. That and 8-track tapes, but whatever. That's a whole nother thing. Scratchy audio came through the tiny speakers. He listened intently to a conversation between his parents from years ago, recorded before he was born. He pulled a cassette tape labeled Dad. He looked at the cassette tape labeled Dad one more time. Well, you're not going to get that thing working, said young Laurel. I think I've got it, said his dad. Ian could hear the sounds of his father messing with the recorder. I'm going to watch from over here where it blows when it blows up, Laurel said, stepping away. Hello? Dad's voice, clear as a bell. The audio of Laurel's voice drifted into the background. I'll bet good money you can't get it to work, she said. Oh, is that right? Said Dad. Ian could hear his smile. Yup, she said. But you're doing a good job of making it look like you know what you're doing, Laurel said on the tape. Well, I'm trying to, said Dad with a laugh. Laurel, her voice faint, asked, Did you check if it had batteries? Dad laughed even louder when she said, No, I'm serious. I know, he said. So, is it really working? Asked Laurel, still far from the machine. Well, let's find out. And there was a brief moment of silence before Dad said, Okay, bye. The tape ended, and Ian rewound it and played it again. And then he played it again. And then he played it again. But this last time, he talked back to the recording in the places where Laurel's voice could barely be heard. It was the only way he could feel like he was actually having some version of a conversation with his father. He knew it was a little strange, but it brought him a tiny bit of comfort. Ah, bless his heart. He was kind of having a conversation with his dad, even though his dad was on the tape with his mom. And whenever his mom spoke on the tape, he spoke in her place. It made him feel like he was talking to his dad. Hi, Dad, said Ian, staring at his father's photo. Dad's voice in the recording said, Hello. It's me, Ian. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Did you have a good day? Asked Ian. Well, I'm trying to, his dad said. Yeah, me too. Although I could clearly use some help. And there was laughter on the recording before Ian added, I sure do wish I could spend a day with you sometime. I know, said Ian's dad. Yeah, there's so many things we could do. I bet it'd be really fun, said Ian. Well, let's find out. Yeah, I'd love to. We could, Dad's recorded voice cut Ian off. Okay, bye. Yeah, Ian said. Bye. Ian stopped the tape and leaned back, lost in his thoughts. It was odd missing someone he had never met. It was odd, just so very odd. But he thought about his father all the time. And special days, like birthdays, were especially difficult. He sighed, feeling an emptiness that he was sure could never be filled. So he went downstairs to fix his torn sweatshirt. When Laurel saw him starting to sew, she said, honey, I was going to do that for you later. Oh, that's okay, he said. I got it, Mom. Laurel smiled as she watched him. Wow, you must have been taught by some kind of sewing master. You're doing great. Yeah, a very humble sewing master, said Ian with a smirk. When he'd finished the last few stitches, he held the thread out for Laurel to snip with the scissors. Ian touched the word stitched onto the front of the hoodie, Lightfoot. What was Dad like when he was my age, he asked. Was he always super confident? Was he bold? Oh, no, said Laurel. It took him a while to find out who he was. You know, I wish I'd met him, Ian said. Oh, honey, me too, said Laurel, her voice full of longing. But hey, you know, when your dad got sick, he fought so hard because he wanted to meet you more than anything. Laurel looked lovingly at her son and then became upbeat. But you know what? I have something for you. I was going to wait until after the cake, but I think you've waited long enough. What is it? Ian asked. It's a gift from your dad. Moments later, Ian hurried up the stairs with Barley behind him. What do you mean it's a gift from Dad? Ian asked. I don't know, Mom said. Mom said it was for both of us. Barley and Ian watched with anticipation as Laurel climbed down the attic steps carrying a long item wrapped in canvas. He just said to give it to you when you were both over 16, explained Laurel. I have no idea what it is. And they rushed into Ian's room and Laurel set the gift down on the bed. Well, open it, she said, looking at Ian. Open it. He pulled back the cloth to reveal a wooden staff, and Barley gasped, No way! And he picked it up in amazement. It's a wizard's staff! Dad was a wizard? What? Asked Ian. What? Laurel shook her head. Hold on. Your dad was an accountant. I mean, he got interested in a lot of strange things when he got sick, but Ian found a letter, and he read it aloud. It was a letter from his dad. Dear Ian and Barley, long ago the world was full of wonder. It was adventurous, exciting, and best of all, there was magic. And that magic helped all in need, but it wasn't easy to master. So the world found a simpler way to get by. Over time, magic faded away, but I hope there's a little magic left in you. So I wrote this spell so I could see for myself who my boys grew up to be. Ian looked at the second page of the letter and read the bold words across the top. Visitation spell. Barley snatched the page from Ian and examined it. Beneath its title was an illustration of a wizard's staff with a beam of light shooting from it, forming the shape of a person. I don't believe this, whispered Barley. This spell brings him back. For one whole day, Dad'll be back. Ian was confused, but he couldn't help but feel a little bit excited. Back? Back to life? That's not possible. Barley held up the staff. With this it is. I'm going to meet Dad said Ian, shocked. Barley nodded as Laurel grabbed the letter. "Oh, Will, you wonderful nut," she said. "What is this?" Barley dug through the canvas. Now a spell this powerful needs an assist element. For this to work, Dad would have had to find a... He removed a sparkling orange stone from the package and held it up to the light. "Phoenix gem! Wow, there are only a few of these left." He carefully slid the gem into an open space at the very top of the staff. Wait, hold on, boys. Is this dangerous?" asked Laurel. Barley held out the staff and spell, suddenly very serious. "We're about to find out." Everyone waited in suspense, and then Barley screamed, causing Ian and Laurel to jump with fright. "Ah! What?" Laurel asked. "Splinter," Barley said, sucking on his finger. He shook it off and struck a dramatic pose at the center of the bedroom, and then he read the spell. "Only once is all we get. Grant me this rebirth. Till tomorrow's sun has set, one day to walk the earth." He braced himself, ready for the magic to begin, but nothing happened. Ian and Laurel stared at Barley. "Hold on. I think I was just gripping it wrong," Barley said. He adjusted his hands and refocused, reciting the spell again, a bit louder this time, but still nothing happened. Determined, Barley tried the spell again, and then again, different parts of the room, again and again and again. Finally, Laurel stopped him. Honey, stop." He leaned the staff against Ian's desk, and he plopped onto the bed beside them. Laurel put her hand on Barley's shoulder, and the three of them sat silently for a minute. They missed him so much. They hoped so much. Laurel picked up the spell. "I'm sorry, guys, you don't have your dad here, but this shows just how much he wanted to see you both. So much that he'd try anything. That's still a pretty special gift," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. Barley sighed, and he just left the room without a word. Laurel turned to Ian. "Hey, you want to come with me and pick up your cake?" "That's okay. Thanks, Mom." Laura walked toward the door and paused before leaving, wishing she could make it all better. She quietly headed down the stairs and off to the bakery to get Ian's cake. Ian sat on the bed. He picked up the spell and examined it for a moment before reading it aloud. "Only once is all we get. Grant me this rebirth." And with those words, something strange began to happen. Ooh. Well, that's the end of chapter 4. So, what do you think is going to happen in chapter 5? I think that Barley read the spell well, but perhaps Ian was the one who was supposed to read it, because at the end of this chapter, what happened? He read the spell. Something strange began to happen. Now, did the author tell us what that strange thing was? No, but we can infer. We can predict. We can infer. Prediction and inference go hand in hand, right? Something strange began to happen. Chances are real good, a light switch didn't get flicked. I have a feeling something happened with that staff and the stone and something in the air. That's what I think. So, I'd ask you to raise your hand. Who thinks Dad's coming back? Raise your hand if you think Dad's coming back. I'll try to see you. Yeah, I see you. Okay. Anyway, that's what I predict. I think the spell was to be read, but it was to be read by Ian for whatever reason. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to bring Dad back. That's what I'm thinking. So when we get to chapter 5, we'll find out if we're right or if I'm right. or if I'm wrong. Take care, stay clean, stay healthy, have fun. Don't worry about anything. Tell your parents, don't worry about anything. Enjoy yourselves. Take some time for yourself. Eat some good food. Don't eat a lot of food. Stay healthy, my wonderful people. And I'll see you. Bye-bye.